My beloved child, pause and listen, because what looked unchanged around you has already shifted in the spirit. What your eyes have been calling still, heaven has been calling stirred. What your heart has been calling delayed, my hand has been calling arranged. You thought nothing was happening because the room looked the same, the door looked the same, the answer had not appeared, and the evidence had not reached your hands yet. But I, your Jesus, have been moving with precision, with protection, and with appointed timing. Before your circumstances changed, I changed the atmosphere around them. Before the door opened, I dealt with what was standing behind the door. Before the answer arrived, I prepared the path it would travel on. Before the promise touched your life, I commanded unseen things to come into order, because I do not release holy things into chaos. I arrange, I cover, I prepare. I go before you in ways you cannot measure, and I move behind the veil in ways your natural eyes cannot trace. And yes, my child, I saw how tired you became. I saw you watching doors stay closed longer than you expected. I saw you pray and then wait, pray and then wonder, pray and then look for a sign that seemed hidden from you. I saw the moments when your faith was still breathing, but your strength felt thin. I saw the quiet questions you did not say out loud. I saw the nights when you asked, Lord, are you doing anything at all? And I am answering you now with tenderness and authority. I was doing more than you knew. And if this word is speaking to your waiting season, pause for a moment and like this video as a sign that your faith is still alive. Subscribe for more prophetic encouragement, because I am going to keep reminding you that you are not abandoned in the middle. And write in the comments, God is arranging everything for me, not as empty words, but as an act of faith, because your mouth is agreeing with what heaven has already begun. Beloved, the silence was never empty. It was crowded with movement. It was filled with instructions being released, angels being assigned, wrong voices being moved away, right connections being prepared, outcomes being guarded, and timing being sealed. What looked quiet to you was not quiet to me. What looked slow to you was not slow in my hands. The unseen realm has already begun moving in your direction. So breathe again. Do not judge the shift by what has not appeared yet. The first evidence was not the open door. The first evidence was the peace beginning to return, the heaviness beginning to lift, the strange knowing rising in your spirit that something has changed even though nothing around you has announced it yet. That knowing is not imagination. It is confirmation. The atmosphere changed first. The circumstances will follow. While you waited, I was moving what your hands could not touch. While you waited, I was reaching into rooms you had no access to. While you waited, I was speaking into hearts that would not have listened to you. While you waited, I was shifting conversations, interrupting wrong agreements, loosening stubborn places, and redirecting timing with a wisdom that saw the whole picture when you could only see one small piece. My child, you thought the waiting meant I had not answered, but the waiting was part of the answer. You thought the silence meant I had stepped away, but my silence was not absence. It was strategy. It was holy movement without noise. It was my hand working behind the curtain, arranging every detail that would have overwhelmed you if I had shown it to you too soon. I did not leave you standing still because I forgot you. I held you there because there were things ahead of you that still needed to be made ready. While you waited, I was aligning the people connected to your next season. I was moving one person out of position because their heart was not clean toward you. I was moving another person into position because they carried the key, the wisdom, the favor, the yes, the instruction, or the confirmation that would be needed at the appointed time. While you waited, I was softening hearts that had been hardened. I was awakening remembrance in someone who had forgotten your name. I was stirring courage in someone who needed to speak for you. I was placing your situation on the mind of someone who did not even know they were being used as part of my answer. While you waited, I was redirecting timing. You saw postponement, but I saw protection. You saw a date pass, a call not come, an opportunity close, a promise seem farther away, and your heart began to ask why. But beloved, what felt like delay was design. What felt like rejection was redirection. What felt like silence was protection. I was not withholding to wound you. I was arranging to preserve you. There were moments when the door could have opened, but the environment behind it was not ready. There were moments when the answer could have appeared, but the people around it were not aligned. There were moments when the blessing itself was prepared, but the place it was meant to land still needed my order. Hear me, my child. I was not only preparing what I promised you, I was preparing the atmosphere around it. I was preparing the relationships around it. I was preparing the timing around it. I was preparing the resources around it. I was preparing your discernment so you would not call every open door mine. I was preparing your peace so the blessing would not crush you with pressure. I was preparing your vision so the answer would not confuse you when it arrived in a form you did not expect. I was preparing covering so what I release into your hands would not be stolen by fear, pride, haste, or the wrong voices. You asked me for one visible change, but the full answer required more than one movement. You asked me to open the door, but I had to clear the hallway. You asked me to send provision, but I had to secure the channel. You asked me to restore what was lost, but I had to remove what would damage the restoration. You asked me to bring the promise, but I had to prepare the place where the promise could remain. So do not despise the season when nothing seemed to move. That season was not wasted. I was gathering fragments you did not know were missing. I was correcting details you did not know were dangerous. I was guarding you from outcomes that would have looked like blessings at first but carried sorrow beneath them. I was closing harmful doors quietly so you would not have to survive what was behind them loudly. And now, beloved, understand this with peace. The waiting did not prove that I was inactive. The waiting proved that I was thorough. I loved you enough to work beyond your awareness. I loved you enough to answer beyond your request. I loved you enough to arrange hidden pieces before placing visible evidence in your hands. Keep breathing. What you could not touch, I touched. What you could not move, I moved. What you could not see, I governed. And what I have arranged in secret will arrive with my fingerprints all over it. And those doors that closed, my child, were not punishments. They were guardrails. I know they hurt when they shut. I know the sound of a closed door can echo through the heart like rejection. I know you stood there confused, holding hope in your hands, wondering why the opportunity disappeared, why the relationship delayed, why the financial channel tightened, why the path turned when you thought it was finally becoming straight. I saw the disappointment you tried to hide. I saw the questions you carried quietly. I saw you wondering if you had failed, if you had missed me, if I was correcting you harshly. But hear me with tenderness and authority. My child, I did not close it to humiliate you. I closed it to preserve what I placed inside you. Some doors stayed shut because the timing attached to them was wrong. Some doors stayed shut because the people behind them were not prepared to honor what I am building in you. Some doors stayed shut because the motive around them was polluted, even though the surface looked promising. Some doors stayed shut because danger was hidden behind what looked like favor. You saw the entrance. I saw the ending. You saw the invitation. I saw the cost. You saw the possibility. I saw the peace you would have lost if I allowed you to force your way through. Beloved, not every closed door was denial. Some were mercy. Some were covering. Some were my hand standing between you and a version of success that would have drained your spirit, confused your identity, or tied your future to people who could not walk where I am taking you. My no was not always no forever. Many times my no was, not this way, not with these people, not in this timing, not at the cost of your peace, not while your heart is still vulnerable enough to settle for what looks open but is not ordained. I was arranging separation before elevation. I was cleansing before access. I was building maturity before manifestation. I was teaching you to trust my restraint as much as you trust my release. Because if I had opened every door you cried over, you would have entered rooms that celebrated your gift but damaged your soul. You would have accepted connections that admired your promise but could not protect your purity. You would have mistaken movement for progress and exposure for favor. So do not curse the detour. Do not mourn forever over the door I refused to bless. I was not keeping you small. I was keeping you whole. I was not withholding your future. I was protecting the route to it. The doors I closed were part of the arrangement, and the ones I open next will not require you to abandon your peace to enter. And while I was guarding the doors around you, beloved, I was also preparing the vessel within you. I was not only arranging what would come to you, I was forming who you would become before it arrived. You thought I was ignoring you because I did not answer in the way your heart expected. You thought I was silent because the outside did not change quickly. But my child, I was working in the quiet places of your soul. I was strengthening patience where impatience used to rush. I was sharpening discernment where desire used to decide. I was growing humility where pain could have made you hard. I was awakening courage in the very place where fear kept telling you to shrink. I saw the obedience nobody applauded. I saw the tears you did not post. I saw the prayers you whispered when your voice was tired and your faith felt small. I saw the forgiveness you chose when your flesh wanted to rehearse the wound again. I saw the integrity you kept under pressure when compromise offered you a quicker route and bitterness offered you a false comfort. I saw you remain tender when life gave you reasons to become cold. I saw you keep seeking me when the answer had not yet touched your hands. None of that was wasted. None of that was invisible. None of that was ignored by heaven. My child, the silent season was not a forgotten place. It was a refining chamber. It was not where I abandoned you. It was where I strengthened you. It was not where your promise died. It was where your capacity grew. The wilderness did not disqualify you. It certified you. The hidden place did not erase your name. It proved your roots. The pressure did not mean I was against you. It revealed what I had already placed inside you and what still needed to be healed before more weight could be trusted to your hands. Because, hear me with clarity, there were things I could not release into the anxious version of you without increasing your fear. There were doors I could not open to the wounded version of you without exposing you to voices that would have touched unhealed places. There were blessings I could not place on the unsteady version of you without causing you to build your identity around what you received instead of who you are in me. So I slowed the arrival, not because I was cruel, but because I was kind. I held back what was good until your heart could carry it with peace. I was healing the places that would have mismanaged favor. I was strengthening the places that would have collapsed under visibility. I was quieting the places that would have chased validation from people I never assigned to define you. I was teaching you that you are mine before you are seen. Mine before you are celebrated, mine before you are answered, mine before the door opens, mine before the promise manifests. Your identity had to be rooted deeper than the thing you were waiting for. Beloved, you are not merely receiving a thing, you are becoming a steward. I am not preparing you for a moment only, I am preparing you for responsibility. What I preserved for you carries weight. What I arranged for you carries assignment. What I am releasing will require peace, maturity, obedience, and a heart that knows how to stay close to me when doors are open, just as faithfully as you stayed close when doors were closed. So, do not despise what I formed in you while you thought nothing was happening. The patience was preparation, the discernment was preparation, the humility was preparation, the courage was preparation. The tears watered roots you could not see. The prayers built strength beneath the surface. The forgiveness kept your heart free enough to receive. The integrity proved that you could be trusted with more. I was not ignoring you, my child. I was enlarging you. I was making room inside you for what is coming outside of you. And when the promise arrives, you will understand why I did not place it in the hands of the old version of you. You will carry it differently now. You will hold it with reverence. You will steward it with wisdom. You will know it did not come because you forced it. It came because I prepared you, preserved it, and appointed the moment for the two to meet. And while I was preparing you, my child, I was also positioning the people connected to what I promised. I was not only working in you, I was working around you. I was arranging names, conversations, favor, helpers, witnesses, confirmations, and divine appointments that would meet you at the right moment, in the right place, with the right spirit. You thought you were waiting alone, but I was moving through rooms you had not entered yet. I was placing your name where your feet had not stood. I was stirring remembrance in hearts you had not called. I was shaping decisions before you arrived, because when I open a door, I do not only prepare the entrance, I prepare the people on the other side. Beloved, some people had to be removed before the promise could safely come near you, not because you were unworthy of love, not because you were meant to walk alone, but because they would have mishandled the next season. They would have used access without honor. They would have pulled from you without covering you. They would have celebrated the gift while draining the vessel. They would have confused your obedience, questioned your peace, and made you feel guilty for becoming who I formed you to be. So I moved them, quietly, carefully, completely. I did not remove them to wound you. I removed them to protect what I am releasing. And others, my child, had to be prepared before they could recognize you properly. Their hearts had to be softened. Their eyes had to be opened. Their timing had to be corrected. Their motives had to be purified. Their courage had to rise. I was working on them while I was working on you. I was teaching them how to see beyond the surface, how to honor what they did not create, how to respond when I placed your name before them. The right people will not need to be manipulated into seeing you. When I appoint recognition, it carries peace. So do not strive to force yourself into the right room. Do not exhaust your soul trying to prove your value to people I have not assigned to your promise. You will not have to beg for the door I have commanded to open. You will not have to chase what I have already sent into motion. When the moment is appointed, the room will recognize the instruction of my hand. The conversation will carry confirmation. The favor will carry purity. The connection will carry alignment. Hear me clearly, beloved. The next connection will not come wrapped in pressure. It will come with peace. It will not leave you tangled in confusion. It will confirm what I have already whispered. It will not require manipulation, performance, or fear. It will bear the fragrance of alignment. You will know the difference, because what I arrange does not violate your spirit. What I send does not pull you away from me. What I ordain strengthens your obedience, steadies your heart, and makes room for the promise to arrive safely. I have been positioning people for you, and I have been positioning you for them. Nothing has been random. The names being stirred, the rooms being prepared, the hearts being softened, the decisions being shaped, the introductions being delayed until maturity was present, all of it has been under my hand. Trust the arrangement. The wrong ones could not remain, and the right ones could not arrive too early. But now I am bringing what belongs together into divine order. And now, my child, hear me as the sound of certainty rises over the place where doubt has been speaking. Heaven had already answered before earth showed evidence. The decision was not made when you finally saw a sign. The answer was not created when the door began to move. The provision was not formed when your hands finally touched it. Long before the natural realm gave you proof, the matter had already been settled in the unseen by my authority. You were waiting for evidence, but heaven was holding order. You were watching for movement, but the scroll had already been marked. You were looking for confirmation, but your name had already been written into the assignment. The timing was not loose. The release was not uncertain. The moment was not wandering through confusion trying to find you. It was sealed. It was appointed. It was moving toward manifestation by a wisdom greater than the clock you were watching. Beloved, there are answers that begin in my throne room before they ever become visible in your circumstances. There are decisions that echo through the unseen before they appear as a phone call, a door, a meeting, a release, a change, a yes, a restoration, or a sudden peace that makes no sense to the mind. You thought nothing had happened because earth had not announced it yet. But heaven does not wait for earth to agree before I decide. I speak, and order begins. I decree, and alignment starts. I assign, and angels move. I seal, and timing obeys. This is not random. This is not late. This is not an accident. This is appointed. Do not reduce what is coming to coincidence. Do not call holy arrangement luck. Do not look at the manifestation and say, "It finally happened," as if it began the moment you could see it. No, my child, it was already happening while you were crying. It was already happening while you were confused. It was already happening while you were obeying with no visible reward. It was already happening while doors were closed, while people were being moved, while your heart was being prepared, while the atmosphere was being cleansed, while the path was being cleared. The evidence is only the arrival of what I already completed in order. The manifestation is only the unveiling of what I had already secured. The open door is only the visible sign of an invisible decree. The yes is only the earthly echo of a heavenly decision. The release is only the fruit of what I planted, guarded, watered, and timed in secret. So do not fear the delays you still do not understand. You do not need to trace every hidden turn to trust the author who has already written the next page. I know where the sentence bends. I know where the chapter turns. I know where the silence breaks. I know what line comes after the one that made you weep. You have been trying to interpret the pause as though the story stopped, but I was turning the page with hands that never tremble. And now, beloved, you are entering a marked moment. What I arranged quietly is beginning to appear openly. What was sealed in heaven is beginning to take shape on earth. What was protected in silence is beginning to carry sound. You will see pieces come together that you could not have forced. You will see timing answer questions that explanation could not satisfy. You will see why I waited, why I guarded, why I removed, why I prepared, why I said not yet when your heart wanted now. Keep breathing. Stand still and trust. The answer did not begin when you saw it. It began when I spoke it. And what I have spoken over you will not return empty. It will arrive carrying my order, my peace, my signature, and my appointed timing. And what looked like loss, my child, was making room for first fruits. I know you counted what left. I know you measured the time, the relationships, the opportunities, the confidence, the peace, the money, the strength, and the momentum that seemed to slip through your hands while you were trying to trust me. I know there were moments when you looked at the empty places and wondered if obedience had cost you too much. I saw you grieve what did not stay. I saw you mourn what did not become what you hoped. I saw you trying to be faithful while your heart was still aching from what had been removed. But hear me with tenderness and certainty. I was not stripping you to leave you empty. I was clearing space for what I preserved. Some things had to leave because they were occupying the room where my promise was meant to land. Some voices had to fade because they were filling the atmosphere where my peace needed to settle. Some opportunities had to close because they carried a weight that looked productive, but would have drained the strength I was restoring. Some relationships had to loosen because they were tied to an old season that could not steward your next one. Beloved, I do not send leftovers to the child I have been preparing in secret. I do not answer long obedience with scraps. I do not replace what you surrendered with a burden disguised as a blessing. What I am bringing carries peace. What I am sending carries purity. What I have preserved for you carries my signature, my order, my timing, and my covering. This is not a counterfeit reward that will require you to lose yourself to keep it. This is holy provision. This is first fruits. This is evidence that the empty place was not abandoned. It was reserved. And restoration will not always arrive all at once, but it will arrive in order. First, peace will begin to return where fear had been sitting. Then clarity will rise where confusion had wrapped itself around your thoughts. Then favor will begin to move through conversations, timing, decisions, and unexpected openings. Then doors will answer what your effort could not force. Then provision will come with enough calm around it for you to know it came from my hand. Then visible confirmation will stand before you and testify that the loss was never the end of the story. Nothing you surrendered to me in obedience has been wasted. Not the tears, not the waiting, not the letting go, not the quiet yes you gave me when your heart still wanted to hold on. Every surrendered thing became seed in the hidden arrangement. Every act of trust was planted where you could not see it. Every painful release made room for a cleaner harvest. So do not call yourself empty. Call yourself prepared. Do not call the space around you barren. Call it cleared. Do not call what left your final portion. I am bringing what was preserved, and it will not arrive as leftovers. It will arrive as first fruits. So now, my child, do not strive for what I have already sent into motion. Do not try to force the door I am already opening. Do not chase the connection I am already arranging. Do not panic manage the provision I am already guiding toward you. Do not return to the old pattern of gripping, proving, pleading, and exhausting yourself as though the outcome depends on the strength of your hands. I have not brought you this far to make you manufacture what only my power can release. Open your hands. Breathe steadily. Let your shoulders come down from the place where fear has been holding them. I am not asking you to carry the whole arrangement. I am asking you to obey the next simple instruction. Take the step when I say step. Wait when I say wait. Speak when I give you peace to speak. Be silent when I cover you in quiet. Your part is not to control every detail. Your part is to stay close enough to hear me, pure enough to discern me, and surrendered enough to move without striving. Beloved, when the new season begins to open, do not run back to old fear. Do not rehearse disappointment as though it is wisdom. Do not let yesterday's delay teach you to distrust today's favor. Do not examine every blessing until your peace becomes suspicion. I know you have been through seasons where hope felt dangerous, but this is why I prepared you. You do not have to enter the door trembling as if it will be taken from you. What I give with my hand, I also cover with my authority. Do not rush, do not fear, do not rehearse disappointment. Keep your eyes on me. The arrangement is already moving. The hearts are already being stirred. The timing is already answering my command. The path is already being cleared. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not responsible for creating the miracle. You are responsible for receiving it in trust and walking in obedience when it arrives. And I, your Jesus, will not lead you into confusion. I will not require panic as proof of faithfulness. I will not bless you through manipulation. What comes from me will carry order. What comes from me will carry peace. What comes from me will strengthen your obedience, not pull you away from my presence. So stand in a receiving posture, my child, hands open, heart steady, eyes lifted, spirit yielded. Let me be God over the details you cannot reach. Let me finish what I have already begun. The release is not waiting for your striving. It is responding to my command. And because the release is responding to my command, beloved, the silence will not remain silent forever. The hidden arrangement will become a public testimony in the appointed time. What I worked behind the veil will stand in front of your eyes. What I whispered into your spirit will be confirmed in your reality. What you carried under tears will rise with evidence. What you prayed in secret will answer openly. Not so people can glorify your struggle, but so they can recognize my hand. My child, the silence was never empty. It was loaded with purpose. It was carrying movement. It was holding conversations you did not hear, protection you did not see, preparation you did not understand, and timing you could not measure. You thought the quiet meant nothing was happening, but I was building a testimony too weighty to be rushed. I was writing lines you would one day repeat with tears in your eyes and peace in your voice. I was arranging details that would make you say, "Only my God could have done this." There will come a moment when understanding begins to visit the places where confusion once sat. You will understand why certain prayers took longer. You will understand why certain doors stayed shut. You will understand why certain people could not continue with you into the next part of your assignment. You will understand why I allowed delay to train your discernment, why I allowed hiddenness to strengthen your roots, why I allowed separation to protect your purity, why I allowed the waiting to empty your hands of what could not go with you. And when you see it, beloved, you will not look back with bitterness. You will look back with awe. You will see that I was not late. You will see that I was not careless. You will see that I was not ignoring your cry. The same silence that felt like absence will become the proof of my precision. The same delay that tested your heart will become the evidence of my mercy. The same closed door that made you weep will become the guardrail you thank me for. But hear me clearly. This testimony is not being released only to relieve you. It is being released to strengthen what comes after you. Your family will be touched by the faith you carry from this season. Your calling will be steadied by the endurance I formed in you. Your obedience will become deeper because you will know, not from theory but from experience, that I can be trusted when there is no visible sign. Your future decisions will carry the memory of my faithfulness. You will not panic the same way. You will not beg the same way. You will not force the same way. You will remember that I move before evidence appears. This is why I did not make the testimony small. I am not only answering a need, I am establishing a witness. I am not only bringing relief, I am creating a marker in your life that says, "This is what the Lord arranged when I thought nothing was happening. This is what grace preserved when I thought I was losing. This is what obedience protected when compromise offered a shortcut. This is what peace carried when fear demanded control." And my child, when the manifestation comes, carry it in humility. Do not turn the breakthrough into a throne for pride. Do not turn the open door into a place where you forget the one who opened it. I am not elevating you for display. I am entrusting you with stewardship. What I place in your hands must be carried with reverence. What I confirm in your life must be guarded with prayer. What I release through you must remain surrendered back to me. The testimony will speak, but you must stay low before me. The door will open, but you must keep your ear near my voice. The promise will manifest, but you must remember that it was not produced by your striving. It was born from my command, preserved by my love, protected by my timing, and delivered by my authority. So prepare your heart, beloved. The hidden is coming into view. The buried seed is breaking through the ground. The tears are becoming testimony. The prayers are becoming confirmation. The silence is about to testify that it was never empty. It was full of me. So now, my child, receive the arrangement with peace. Do not fear the silence anymore. Do not look at the hidden place as though it is empty. Do not stand at the edge of manifestation, trembling as if I have forgotten how to finish what I began. I have been faithful in what you could not see, and I will be faithful in what you are about to receive. The same hand that protected you in delay will steady you in release. The same voice that whispered to you in the waiting will guide you through the open door. So pray with me now, beloved. Father, calm the fear that has tried to rise where faith belongs. Quiet every anxious thought that keeps asking how, when, and through whom. Heal the disappointment that came from doors that closed, prayers that seemed delayed, and seasons that felt longer than the heart expected. Touch the places where hope became tired. Restore the places where trust became guarded. Wash away the fear of believing again. Let peace settle like holy oil over the mind, over the heart, over the body, over the future. Sharpen discernment, Lord. Teach my child to recognize what is from you and what only looks like opportunity. Teach them to know the difference between pressure and peace, between striving and obedience, between a door you opened and a door fear is trying to force. Give them wisdom to walk slowly when you say wait, courage to step forward when you say move, and humility to receive what your hand has arranged in secret. Let them stop fighting battles you already handled. Let them stop carrying outcomes you never placed on their shoulders. And I declare over you now, by my authority and by my love, delayed answers are coming into alignment. Protected doors are coming into alignment. Divine connections are coming into alignment. Restored peace is coming into alignment. Appointed provision is coming into alignment. What was held back for your protection will not be stolen. What was preserved for your season will not miss you. What I arranged before you saw it will appear with my signature, my timing, my order, and my peace. You will not have to chase the promise. You will not have to beg for what I have commanded. You will not have to fear that silence means absence. Heaven has already moved. Angels have already been assigned. Hearts are being stirred. Rooms are being prepared. Conversations are being positioned. Provision is being directed. Your name has not been erased from the arrangement. Your prayers have not fallen to the ground. Your waiting has not been wasted. So declare it by faith, beloved. If this word has touched the place where you have been waiting, write in the comments, God arranged it before I saw it. Or write, I trust your hidden work. Let it be more than a sentence. Let it be your faith rising above fear. Let it be your agreement with heaven. Let it be your declaration that you will no longer call the silence empty when I have filled it with purpose. And if you are still waiting, if you are still standing in the space between the promise and the evidence, leave your prayer request in the comments. Let this community stand with you. Let others pray with you in your receiving season. You are not alone in the waiting, and you will not be alone in the testimony. My child, go in peace. Receive what I arranged. Trust what I hid until the appointed time. The silence was not the end. It was the setup. The delay was not denial. It was design. What I have prepared is coming forth in order. Like this video, if this message gave your heart peace, share it with someone who feels forgotten in a silent season. And subscribe for more God-centered encouragement, because I am still speaking, still guiding, still arranging, and still bringing my children into what I promised. Amen.